In the last episode, we were drowning in the bureaucratic paperwork that's required when you're buying any brand new boat. In this episode, we share the process of choosing the factory options and how we made those important decisions. And we give you lots of detail, so enjoy. Sit down here with me. We've got important things to discuss.
We have very important things.
Today we are talking about the options on our 50-foot Leopard Catamaran boat that we have ordered.
So you've always got a deadline to do these options. So our deadline is really about a month away. We don't want to leave it too tight. Now we make the best choices that we think for our circumstances going forward, and we live with them.
That's right. But I think what's really important is to really drill down exactly what our cruising looks like in the future. What does our cruising look like?
Well, obviously we want to be off the grid. We want to be independent as much as possible. Mm-hmm. We want to be comfortable. We're not 25-year-olds. We want it to be easy.
But we've done all that. We've done it on fast cats. We've done it on monohulls. We've done it on stink boats. We've done it on
racing boats, sitting out continuously
on
the edge. You know, we want life to be pleasant and easy. We're not racing, but we want to be out there. We want to be independent. We don't want to have to go back to harbours because we're running out of water or food or things like that. So we want to be independent.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Well, I guess the age factor is a bit to do with it too. You know, as we said, we've been sailing for quite some time, and you know, we've got to look forward to say, well, you know, what do we look like in the next, 10 years or so? And although
honey, you look beautiful.
You put me off track. I've gone all red and blushing.
So we are aiming to make this easy, so our living on the boat will be viable for a longer period of time as age advances. Is really the diplomatic way of saying it, isn't it?
I didn't want to say it too much, but
okay, let's get down to it.
Okay.
So Leopard give you an options list, and the standard boat comes with certain things included, and obviously a lot of options. At the boat show, when we bought the boat, there was a lot of options included. Obviously the prices were added, so it made our choices a lot easier. So a lot of these things are included in their standard options, but there's some things that we may want to add extra, and there's some things that we'll want to drop off. So we'll go through them from the top.
First thing on the list
is interior layout and flybridge. Obviously, do you want a 5-cabin or a 4-cabin? So this is easy. We want the owner's version. We want the 4-cabin layout. This isn't a charter boat, which is the ones that use the 5-cabin layout. There's also the option of having a utility room. We don't want that. We just want to keep them as cabins.
We can set it up so that we can have one cabin when it's not being used as a utility room, but we can very easily change it into a cabin.
If we have guests that need to food.
And also if we want to sell the boat on and upgrade in a few years' time, it's much easier to sell a full-cabined boat than it is
than a
3-cabin.
The next option is the interior upholstery colouring. The standard one, I think, is artesian. Yep. So
and
that's
it's lovely.
Carpets. Carpets are not a good idea in boats anyway, so we're not interested in those. Full length mirrors in the 4 cabins.
Well, at the end of the day, it might not be too big of a deal for a male, but a female likes to know what she looks like, especially if she's getting out there in her swimmers and, do these swimmers make me look fat? No, it's not the swimmers, it's all the chocolate you've been eating, that kind of thing.
Now, the next options they give you is 4-peak berths. In the 4-peak, which is the bow of the boat, you can convert that basic storage area into a cabin. That would cost $6,000, but as we say, we're not interested.
Yeah.
Safe with combination lock. Do we want this?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
And of course, that's bolted to the boat, so it's not just something that can be removed,
interior saloon blinds, front and side windows.
Well, these are a must, I think.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, you're out there, the Leopard 50 has got massive amounts of windows all the way around, which is absolutely beautiful, but you've got to be able to close them down when the sun's beating through. So, yeah, I think this is a must.
Yeah, these are nice, neat, white.
Concertina ones.
Concertina, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
No,
that.
I don't either. Saloon table convertible to coffee table and able to be converted into double bunk. Yes, we're going to take that too.
Yeah,
So
that's a must.
the double bed is really good, so we're going to go ahead and get that too. Okay, we decided way back that we will upgrade to the 80 horsepower Yanmars, $21,000. And now the other big choice everybody needs to make on their boat is, are they going to have standard fixed props that obviously create resistance as you're sailing through the water, or are you going to get folding props? Now, certainly we have had folding props in the past, and we have had fixed props, and on the faster you go, the more resistance they cause. I must say we have also had bad experiences with folding props. They have been difficult and hard to service, and they've dropped off. Even when fitted by the professionals. But probably at this stage, we're just going to go with the fixed props because, given that you're going to be sailing at 9 or 10 knots, I'm not that worried. It's not like you're sailing 20 knots typically, but down the track, we can always add the folding props later and keep the props that we get with the original boat as spares. But again, we're doing this for comfort and simplicity. The next option we've got is a Yanmar VCS electronic throttle and engine display. I don't really know what that means, except that I'm presuming you can control the engine throttle off the Axiom control panel electronically rather than have to push the levers. I've not actually seen these before. I don't really know much about these, but I don't see any reason why we need electronic controls. We'll just stick with the standard engine controls, mechanical, Okay, the next section is navigation and electronics, and the first part of this is included already. It's the Fusion Marine stereo,
which is a must.
Which is important on a boat. You need music.
Yeah.
This comes with Bluetooth, USB, etc. But you then have extra options of having external speakers in the forward cockpit.
Oh, we've got to have that.
External speakers on the flybridge, so that's upstairs. You can have the music on low or high in all of those sections independently. So yeah, that's a really good feature. So we're going to go with all 4 areas of music. Yeah. Elizabeth is an auditory person.
I'm very auditory.
She loves her music.
I cannot live without music, or if I'm not playing any music, the risk is I'm singing or I'm playing a ukulele or a guitar very badly.
So we need the music.
I think for John's comfort, let's go for the speakers.
Yeah. Okay, next section is the Raymarine base pack that comes with the standard price. The standard price is a 9-inch display, and so for an extra $2,400, you can upgrade the 9-inch to a 12-inch display.
So for me, the difference between being able to see what I'm looking at, a 9-inch or a 12-inch, it's, 12-inch for me.
The price for that is an extra $2,400. I struggle a little bit with how they work out these, because this is like replacing a 9-inch, which I presume would cost, $2,000 for a 12-inch, which might cost $3,000, but they're charging an extra $2,400. At the end of the day, you've either got to accept it as it is, or you've got to do it later. And the other thing you've got to realize is this also includes the cost of fitting. Yeah, the 12-inch. We'll go with the 12-inch because it gives you a much better view of what's going on. The next thing is an additional display at the helm station, but the 9-inch multifunction display with Wi-Fi at the nav station is $3,600. So we just went with the standard 12-inch and iPad on the inside. Now, there are a lot of things on these that you think, what are they talking about? You've got to read them very carefully. Autopilot wireless remote start controller at nav station requires base pack. I believe this is a remote controller for the autopilot. I'm not sure how valuable that is, but that will allow us to change direction when we're inside without actually going out or up to the steering station. Now, the next one is radar, digital radar, $3,500. We have both agreed that yes, we do want a radar. The biggest problem I have had with trying to work out exactly which radar this is. What I was actually wanting was a Raymarine Chirp, which uses a lot less power because it only emits the radar intermittently, so it's a lot more economical on power. When you're sailing long distances, you're going to turn gear off that's using a lot of power that's not essential, and then there'll be a circumstance that arises where there's a ship that the radar might have picked up, but because you're trying to save power, you didn't. We can get this done as aftermarket and then choose the exact version of radar that we want. Now, because I've never had a radar before, I'm really quite ignorant about radars, so that's part of my struggle here. We'll move on. Fish finder, down vision. We don't require that, do we?
Well, that would be the first thing that I'd sacrifice if I had to sacrifice like a speaker or something like that. So.
Now, Raymarine rear view cameras and front facing cameras. One of the things I didn't like about the ones the factory supplies is these are positioned in the roof of the cockpit. Looking backwards, and if we have like drop downs, you're not going to see outside, but also the angle is looking from obviously head height in this cockpit out the back, and you're not seeing how close you are exactly to the pontoon or the berth you're trying to get into. My preference is to have cameras looking down from the shrouds, and I know these are available from just catamarans, and that way you get view of the outside of your boat from above, and you can see exactly how close you are to whatever it is you're approaching. AIS, yes, we want an AIS. Definitely, that is a very essential part for safety. As we're about to make these final choices, there are two ways that the AIS can work. One is sharing the antenna with the VHF radio and having its own antenna. All commercial ships are obligated to have AIS, but recreational vessels, it's optional.
There's always pros and cons for everything, and some people are of the opinion that they don't want to be located. The simple answer to that is you just turn it off, right?
Yeah, you can make your position silent. So if you're in those sort of high risk areas where piracy is a risk or you're feeling vulnerable, certainly just turn it off. In areas of high shipping, absolutely essential. This is probably one of the most effective collision avoidance processes, even in my view better than radar. The AIS can either be linked into the VHF aerial because they use the same signals, or you do it on its own signal, and we've just been recommended to do it with its own aerial, so there's no interference or possible interference between the VHF radio and the AIS. So we put a cross on it here because we'll fit it later. Okay, electrical. Global shore power. Now
that's pretty obvious.
There's a few options here. Options to use both 125 and 250 volts from the shore, which is what we want, so we can plug into both the US and the rest of the world. And that includes all those big cables that take you to the outside, plus the systems automatically recognize whether it's 110 volts or 250 and automatically changes it, so the power that comes out in your boat is correct for however you have wired your boat. The next item is universal outlet sockets. Without any extra cost, they offer you universal outlet sockets, which is great because that means if you have an Australian, it fits. If you go to the UK or Europe or even the Asia where you have the round sockets, all of these universal sockets suit all of those plugs. There's no extra cost. That's just so handy. Battery chargers. This obviously works off the 240 volts with shore power or genset, so obviously we have to have a battery charger. That's already included, so we don't really need to think about it, except there's two. Then you can get an additional battery charger. We've got both automatically. I presume this is for backup. If one goes down, you have the second. Would that seem sensible to you?
That would be sensible to me.
Yeah. Shaver outlets and heads. We've chosen not to have this, haven't we? I don't use an electric shaver, so it's irrelevant anyway.
But I think, in saying that, I'm not really sure whether they supply a PowerPoint in the heads at all.
Well, they can. That's what this is. That's what you're paying for. So you can
but
either
only if you have 100.
No, they've got 220 options too. So you can have a 220 shaver option as well. That's what this next 3 or 4 lines is all about.
Because I think that's important because otherwise there's no PowerPoints. Well, that's what I thought was just shaver outlets, but I should have read it properly. because I didn't see that there was an option for 220, because if there's two places, you know, that you need plug-ins, it's kitchen and bathroom.
Yeah, okay. So, yes, we do need a plug. Although we don't need a shaver, we need a plug for Elizabeth's hairdryer and curlers.
Well, it's mainly hairdryer,
Yeah,
I guess.
but,
you know.
yeah, so I think this is important to get, whether you use 220 or 110. Yes, you do need a plug in your shower. To go into all 4 cabins, that costs $1,331. The next item is 3,000 watt 220 volt inverter, which is ticked. So obviously we're wiring the boat for 220 volts, and for the devices that we do have, we're just going to get a simple little transformer that you plug in. Now they do offer extra inverters. Okay, batteries. Upgrade standard lead acid batteries to AGM batteries.
A lot of people would say it's a no-brainer, you should go for the lithium batteries, but you know, everything comes at a cost, and boats are a compromise. And we know, like everything else on the planet, when things first, you know, appear on the market, they're much, much more expensive. And in a few years' time, they get less and less more expensive, more affordable all round.
So your options are to go with lead acid batteries and add a few extra ones if you want, or change your standard batteries to AGMs and add a few of those if you want, or go to lithium. So the relative prices for 200 amp hour lithium batteries is $21,000. Upgrade the standard lead acid batteries to AGM batteries is $1,900, and then you can add one extra AGM for $1,000, 3 AGM batteries for $3,500. We're actually going to go with this standard of upgrading to have 3 additional AGMs, so you have 6 in total.
And we realise with the LED batteries that, you know, you're not getting as much power because you can't run them completely flat like you can the lithium batteries. But when our batteries need replacing again, then we might be in a position that we go, you know what, we are just going to go for all lithium batteries. They've now come down in price, and let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to just make a choice. 4 lithium battery, 200 amp hour lithium batteries cost $21,000. And I do believe lithium batteries will get cheaper over time.
They will.
I'd rather be on the boat and see how well the AGMs do, and then down the track, when they're dead or when they're dying, we can change them.
Yeah.
Now, ventilation fans in the 4 cabins, $618. Yes, we want those.
Yep.
We don't want to have to run aircon when we don't need to, because that requires running the generator.
And we are going to be sailing the tropics a lot, so you know, to be able to switch on a fan doesn't take as much a power, and you know, you get some reprieve. So yeah.
The next item is windlass up foot switch. So this is a foot button on the front deck of the boat, so you can control the anchor up and down with your foot. So
good idea.
That's included on the standard package they give us. Genset. This is obviously very important.
Well, for us, this is a no-brainer.
It is,
because you know, it's because of all the other options we want on board. We want to have a genset.
So that is $31,000. Now that's obviously fully fitted and wired. One could get a price from Just Catamarans as how much they would charge to fit. My understanding is it's very much the same, but we didn't go through that process. Okay, chilled water air conditioning, $33,000. Now, in the past I wasn't a favor of air conditioning. I thought open up the windows, get a bit of air through, but there are times in the tropics where you have no wind, you have stinking hot, 35-degree temperatures, 100% humidity. You lie in your bed with the fan on full blast and you just drip sweat. I did a 1-week crossing in environments like that, and I ended up with my skin was breaking down from sweat and heat sores, and you just couldn't get dry.
Yes, some people might say, "Oh, that's luxury, and you can do without it." And sure, you can do without it.
And we've done without it.
And
but
we
this
have
will be the first time we're going to have it.
We love to sail in the tropics. We love to be, just swinging off the hook. That usually means midges or no-see-ums or bugs that come in through the window.
Mosquitoes, for sure. And we've also seen in the popular YouTube channels, folks are sitting there in the South Pacific. Beautiful places, and they're just dripping with sweat and really uncomfortable. And they
have to go to the island because they can't get any reprieve on the boat.
Yeah, so they go to a restaurant or something like that to get reprieve, or they go onto somebody else's boat that does have air conditioning. They go, oh my God, this is so good.
Yeah, we didn't want to do that.
Well, we want to have it on our boats.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, this is because we're at that point in our life, we can afford it, we can choose to have the comfortable things, and we've done the hard yards in the past. So
we've done without it.
Electric main winch, standard manual winch, that's already there and approved for $4,000. Electric furling winch for Genoa. Yeah, we want an electric furling winch. Oh, no. Electric furling winch. Yeah, no, it's not. The electric furling winch isn't. This is where you run into some problems knowing exactly what they're talking about. Now, I think that's the electric furling system on the Genoa, whereas we are going to have electric winches. We want the main winches to be electric so that we can do it with ease. Elizabeth can pull up the main herself or pull me up the mast if we need to do something at the top of the mast.
Because we're not always going to have crew on board.
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing about having electric winches is it means you don't have to go to the front deck to pull in the Genoa. So if you're in a big blow, the thing you really don't want to do is to have to be sitting like I had to do in the past, and I see some of the other people on cats. You got to run to the bow and actually sit down and pull directly onto the furler of the Genoa because the wind's so strong. And even with the sail completely let free, it takes such a lot of force you can't do it manually from the back. So you have an electric winch, you can do it without leaving the safety of the steering station.
Actually, when you've done sailing races on racing catamarans, you've been the person that has actually been diving down into green water and trying to pull it up.
Yeah. So I was the bowman on a 43-foot racing monohull and in Sydney to Hobart races, and when in certain conditions the boat would take off over the one wave and then bury its bow in the next wave, and you could see it coming, so you would obviously you always have one hand on the boat for yourself, but in that situation you grab on with two hands. And there's one particular time we went so deep I was holding on to the push pit, the stainless at the front of the boat, and my feet went up at least 45 degrees as I'm holding on like this, holding my breath and waiting for the boat to come back up. My feet then came down, went back up, and then I went on changing the sail.
I don't want to do that. That's not my fun. That's not my idea of fun sailing.
Okay, that's why we're doing it nice now. Motorised TV lift at nav station. Oh no, we don't need that.
We decided not to do that. We're just going to have it
on the wall,
attached to the wall. But
it does. It looks really flash actually. Okay, provision for TV in saloon. Yes, we want to do that. $193. Provision for TV in owner's cabin.
Yes.
$467. We're going to do that too, so we can sit in bed and watch it. Microwave oven in galley. Yes, we want that. Solar panels. Okay, we do want solar. The solar panels Leopard provide are on the decks. This is the discussion and consideration we've had at length, because you have two options. Either you put your solar on the roof around your mast, and then on different angles of sail, the shadows from the sail stop the solar from working, or you put an arch on the back of the boat and you put your solar panels out there, so it's much more away from your sail, so you're much less likely to get shadow. But the disadvantage is then you have more weight at the back of the boat. So
we know a lot of weight does go on the back of the boat by the time you do your dinghy and you do and I really wanted the lifting platform, which we knew was
heavy.
Quite heavy as well, and then you put the solar arch on the back there, and does that alter the performance of the boat, and all those kind of things we had to consider. So
solar panels that come from the Leopard factory, if you have two 100 watts, it costs $3,800. 600 watts costs $10,000. Now this to me is still not enough. I mean, if you want to have good amount of solar on your boat, you need at least 1,000 watts or 1,500 watts, and we are going to be aiming for 1,500 watts on the solar arch. Yeah, well, we don't want to have to run the generator. At the end of the day, your ability to survive for longer periods off the grid is determined by how much you are self-sufficient with power. Okay, let's move on. Stirling alternator to battery charger, a button to link engine batteries to house batteries. This is included as a standard. Underwater lights. We love underwater lights.
I love underwater lights. I think there's nothing more beautiful than sitting, swinging off the hook, seeing the blue lights and seeing all the fish come up and the squid and all that sort of stuff.
But
it's $4,000.
Yeah, $4,000. So, for $4,000, is it worth? I mean, there's two disadvantages with the underwater lights. One is, I'm always nervous about having extra holes in the hull. That just is one more thing that can leak. And the second one is clearly the price. For $4,000, this is purely a cosmetic thing, isn't it?
Pretty much. I mean, it has nothing to do with the function of the boat at all.
We can just hang a light over the back or buy an LED for $50 and with a suction cap and attach it to the back of the boat while we're at anchor.
Yeah, but I do love them.
Yeah, they are really nice.
They're beautiful. So, you know, at the end of the day, all you can do is make the decisions based on the information you have and the resources you have in front of you at that time. I know it's been a really long video. I hope it's been really useful for anybody. Give us a like, it really does help the channel.
Yeah, so like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video, guys.
Yeah, so bye for now.
All the best, bye guys.
Now, I'd really like to talk to you about those lights. I've had a second to think about those lights. Just kidding. Wasn't it worth to see the look on his face though?
Okay, see you guys, you tricker.
I'm all up in that love haze, so where do we go now? Just let me know that I am safe.
If you have liked this episode, hit the like button, subscribe for free, and ding the dong so you don't miss your fix of the next exciting episode. Love and health from the Barefoot Doctors.
Love is sick.